Hey folks, Jordan with the Young Turks and TYT Politics. I hope I am not disrespecting President Obama by responding to his press conference before he is finished with his press conference. President Obama is still giving his last press conference as president. I don't really think I'm going to hear a lot more that I think is newsworthy. And frankly, I can't listen anymore because what I'm hearing is blah, 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 and a whole lot of nonsense. So I've taken some notes on some of the things the president said that I felt were noteworthy, and a lot of things that he did not say that I felt were noteworthy. Again, this is President Obama's final press conference. Yesterday, he commuted the sentence of Chelsea Manning, who will now be out of prison in 5 months. I did a video on that yesterday, and I credited him where he deserves credit. From this press conference today, I do believe it's fairly evident he will not be pardoning Edward Snowden, which I think is the wrong decision. I think Edward Snowden deserves to be pardoned. I don't think Edward Snowden's case is much different than Chelsea Manning, who he just commuted the sentence. But I want to, I was on vacation as a lot of the, legacy pieces were going on about Obama. So I'm going to tell you some of the things he said, and then I'm going to tell you what I think. He started by very profusely praising the press, thanking them and, thanking them for the hard work they do and keeping him accountable, which I found comical because this president, more than any president that I remember, did more to suppress the media, even though the media is a bunch of corporate stooges anyway in this country. He did more to suppress the media, to prosecute whistleblowers, and was one of the least transparent presidents we've ever had. I think Trump will actually beat him and be worse, but it was just funny to me that he started the press conference praising the press, a press that he has done everything in his power to suppress, to keep at arm's length, to restrict access. So on that, he's a hypocrite. He's a hypocrite on a lot of things, but that was number one. Number two, I thought it was very comical. The first reporter who asked him a question, I don't know the guy's name, but he asked a question about Obama commuting Chelsea Manning's sentence. And in the question, he mentioned WikiLeaks. Quote, given WikiLeaks' connection to Russian hacking. And this, my friends, is what's wrong with the United States corporate media. So I'm sorry, I didn't write down his name, but the first reporter who asked the question, he was a white bald dude, said, given WikiLeaks' connection to Russian hacking. So he just said it like it's a fact, because that's the corporate media. They're Pez dispensers, and they just really kind of dispense what the powerful people tell them. So this reporter basically asked Obama, given WikiLeaks' connection to Russian hacking, first of all, you know my thoughts on the Russian hacking. I think it's a lot of propaganda. I don't think there's direct evidence that the Russian government hacked the DNC or Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman's account. I know our fearless leader, Cenk, disagrees with me. And, we're progressives. We could agree to disagree. I don't know that there's concrete evidence that happened. However, a reporter is saying, given WikiLeaks' connection to Russian hacking, there is no evidence that WikiLeaks has a connection to Russian hacking. There is no evidence that Russia was WikiLeaks' source. So when the media or a reporter just says that as a Pez dispenser, this is as propaganda-ish as the fake news that you see on Facebook, that the media has been up in arms about, the fake news epidemic. No, that's fake news. When a reporter asks a question to the President of the United States saying, given WikiLeaks' connection to Russian hacking, like it's a known fact, like it's a concrete, already proven fact. It's not a proven fact. And I'm not saying this because I'm working for the Kremlin or I'm BFF with Vladimir Putin. Vladimir, I'm live, stop. I'm not saying it because I'm BFFs with Putin. I'm saying it because in America, when reporters knowingly or unknowingly report things as fact that are not facts, that's a dangerous thing. because I could take it from someone who knows and who has gone across the country. It's a lot of dumb fucking people in this country. So when they hear this stuff, they just assume it's true because somebody in a suit led into the White House press briefing room is saying it and asking the president. To Obama's credit, in his answer, he said that there is no conclusive evidence as to the Russian, whether the Russia gave WikiLeaks their information. So I credit Obama for that. But I just thought that was interesting that a reporter just said as fact in his question, given WikiLeaks' connection to Russian hacking. Obama defended his commuting Chelsea Manning, and he said something that I thought was very interesting. When the reporters asked him, "Oh, doesn't this set a bad precedent for future, let's say U.S. military soldiers who don't agree with something the United States is doing, so just steal information and leak it? Doesn't that set a bad precedent that all we're giving is like 7 years and then we're going to let him out of jail? Doesn't that set a bad precedent?" So Obama said something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing, he basically told intelligence officers who uncover war crimes or government lies, first go to your superior. Go to your superior officer, the bureaucracy. Talk to them. Let's try to work it out internally. If you uncover war crimes or the government lying about civilian casualties, don't release it to the public. Just go to your superior. You know how if you have a problem at your job, if you have a job, it's not a guarantee anymore. Just go to your boss because all our bosses are, reasonable people. And if a U.S. soldier goes to his commander and says, hey, this torturing is against the law. It's a war crime. Or, hey, the government is lying about how many innocent Iraqis we're killing. If I, as a U.S. soldier, would go to my boss and say that, the commander, of course, they're going to say, oh my God, Sergeant Chariton, you're right. I didn't think about it that way. We need to alert the president. Come on, Obama. So basically, Obama said as precedent, if you have a problem or an issue or you uncover war crimes, just go to your superior. Don't leak it to the public. You make what you want of what he said. Oh, another funny quote was he said, I think it's in America's best interest to have a constructive relationship with Russia. I found that comical because pretty much since August, September, October, the Democratic Party, which was led by President Obama, has been trying to relaunch Cold War 2.0 with Russia. So Obama says we need to have a constructive relationship with Russia. Meanwhile, Democrats who go on TV, Obama himself, obviously we know what Hillary Clinton said, they've been doing everything they can to fearmonger, to put out Cold War propaganda, and essentially kind of poke the bear, provoke a nuclear armed power. That's not my definition of a constructive relationship. How about you guys? You think that's a constructive relationship? And don't get me wrong, Vladimir Putin in Russia is no innocent butterfly. I have said from the beginning, every video I do, you could go watch it. It is possible, it is very possible that Russia and the Russian government were behind the DNC emails being hacked, John Podesta's emails being hacked. It's not out of the realm of possibility. My whole point was, haven't we learned our lesson just to blindly believe what the CIA tells us is fact or the government tells us is fact? Have we not learned that lesson? I don't just take the CIA's word for it because the CIA occasionally lies. That's their job. They're spies. So a lot of times their actual identity are lies. But I just found it interesting that Obama's talking about we need to have a constructive relationship with Russia. However, we've been kind of pounding our chest and provoking war with Russia for the last 6 months. Moving on. This one I really found something. Obama said Russia and Ukraine, the issue with Russia invading Ukraine is really shows a principle that bigger countries can't just go willy-nilly invading smaller countries. You mean what the United States has been doing for the last 50 years? What an insane comment. Again, Obama said, the lesson from Russia and Ukraine is bigger countries can't just go willy-nilly invading smaller countries. Well, what did we do in Iraq? What did we do with Libya? If we're up to Hillary Clinton, what were we going to do in Syria? What are we doing in Yemen? I mean, come on. You can't say, oh, Obama and politicians in general like to talk like America is this high and peaceful and, we are the bastions of freedom around the world. Yet America, the biggest country, has gone in and invaded smaller countries all around the world for decades and decades and decades. Frankly, we invaded the Indians, the Native Americans. That's the history of America. That's the founding of America. We are based on invading smaller countries or smaller peoples, because we have taken it upon ourselves to be the police of morality and democracy. Don't get me wrong. I do believe in stopping genocide. Okay? If there's genocide going on in another country, I think America should do all that's in its power to help. The problem is when the default option of the United States is to send ground troops in and send other people's children to go into other countries and die so that we can spread democracy around the world. There's other ways of helping to spread democracy. And here's an idea. How about spreading democracy in the United States of America before worrying about other countries' democracy? Because I could tell you, folks, I've gone around the country the last year. Our democracy is not exactly democratic. There's a lot of undemocratic things going on all over the world, the country. Our elections are not democratic. Superdelegates are not democratic. The voting throughout the country is not democratic. And I'm going to say something very controversial, and a lot of you aren't going to like it, but I got to keep it real. I don't like Hillary Clinton. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. However, it's not a democratic system if you win 3 million more votes than your opponent, yet you lose. I got to keep it honest. I don't believe Hillary Clinton should have been president. I don't believe Donald Trump should be president. But if you win 3 million more votes, that's not exactly democratic, folks. It's not exactly democratic to have closed primaries where only Democrats could vote or only Republicans could vote. Bernie Sanders would have been the Democratic nominee if it was all open primaries because he kicked ass among independents and millennials. So closed primaries are a form of voter suppression. And frankly, the Electoral College is voter suppression because we don't have one person, one vote. Right? And it's not exactly democratic when I, Jordan Daniel Chariton, I do okay. I'm not poor. But let's say I make a year, I don't know, $50,000 a year, or you make $50,000 a year. Is it democratic that I should have less of a say than somebody making $500,000 a year, or $1 million a year, or $1.5 million a year, or $10 billion a year? Is that democratic? So spare me, Obama, with the democracy. Big countries can't go just willy-nilly invading other countries. That's what we've been doing forever. There's one war that I supported, and that was going into Afghanistan, because Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda were launched. 9/11 was launched from Afghanistan. Of course, it was mastermind, and they were connecting the dots from other countries, but Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan. What I did not vote for was, hey, let's go into Afghanistan for the next 16 years. Let's spend trillions and trillions of dollars to take out Osama bin Laden. I didn't go for that. You didn't go for that. So when Obama or any president, boasts about America, Russia and other big countries can't just go in and invade smaller countries like Ukraine. Hey, you look in the mirror.